Start out slow.
His high style, it opens up the other guys here on the Chargers taking their second timeout of this first quarter. They try to get organized. Baltimore went with their big people out there. They were Patrick Ricard, the fullback guy. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Sebastian Joseph Day replacing Brandon Staley with the Rams. Brady was the second coordinator. Come on over. With him the last couple of years. Bears. That's a win.
Back to the party.
Get ready. See, she likes it. She's like, yeah.
Down there at about half track, and an 11. All over the place, and Gerardo zips down to go eat.
It's an Audi TT weekend outside working on the Audi TTs. So plans for today, I'm going to swap out my rear wheel bearing on this one, the Roadster, because I've been taking corners a little quick and tight. And this thing handles pretty good with the version 3 KW coilovers on here. I got some aftermarket sway bars, so it handles pretty good. So that stress has finally pushed the wheel bearing to the limit, and that rear one is ready to go. So it's time to swap that out with a new one. And after I swap that out, get that back cruising good, take it for a test ride around the block, pick back up on this beast right here. And the plans for today is to pick up with my intercooler piping, and that is run my piping, my U-pipes from here up to my throttle body and begin fabricating the opposite side up to this monster turbocharger. So let's get out here, have some fun, and get it done. So my TT has been getting quite a bit jealous because I've been giving my brother's TT too much attention. So she's been kind of nagging me a little bit with a few little problems that needs to be addressed because she's jealous. So every time somebody steps to us at the stoplight or while we're just cruising, you know, she gets a little upset, and I let her know, calm down, be patient. I have a stage 3 setup similar to this. This is our stage 1, but I have a stage 3 slated for you soon, babe. So just relax. I got a sequential transmission, a Quave sequential transmission already ready. I have a block already nice painted up, 3.6 liters, bored out. Already have the turbo. So just, you know, kind of relax a little bit. I'm gonna give you some attention. So she's upset. I'm gonna have to change possibly both rear wheel bearings. I had intentions on just doing the driver's side, and the passenger side is a little jacked up. It took me this huge breaker bar to get off that axle nut. The other side came off pretty good. This side was tight, as well as the knuckle. That spindle just do not want to rotate much at all. So when I pulled into the driveway after cruising with it one day and went to pull up the handbrake, I could feel the brake just shifted and went up even higher. And I already knew the wheel bearing was starting to fail, but that was the final step. And that's what I'm doing. So unfortunately, I may have to change both. Do I feel like doing it? Oh, hells to the no. But it's got to get done. So I have 2 wheel bearings, brand new. I'm going to have to just go ahead out here, break her off, because she's like, you know, wanting a little attention, and swap out both sides. Back outside in this misty weather. So the plan for today is to start fabricating some of the parts for the intercooler. So I want to start with leading from my throttle body to my intercooler. I have a box of 3.5-inch piping on the shelf. I got some straights, J pipes and everything, so I only brought a few pipes down and we can start fabricating. But one of the things that turned out pretty good a while ago, and it's been a year or two, I had sourced out some parts to make things easier. So we're using a Volkswagen Audi drive-by-wire throttle body. This is definitely larger than the factory one. And this opening right here is 3.5 inches, which is nice. So as well as the throttle body, so it doesn't flare down. It's pretty much 3.5 inches all the way inside diameter also, which is pretty good. And that will mate up to some of the vibrant clamps, so I don't have to weld on my drive-by-wire throttle body. This can bolt into position. One of the things, a lot of these Volkswagen Audi throttle bodies doesn't have an O-ring on the back side of it. Of course, I got to clean all this stuff up. And my adapter plate that I source, this has provisions for O-ring. So when I bolt this together, this will turn out really nice. I can thread this into position without any welding onto my throttle body at all. And as well as my V-band clamp, this will clamp onto here. I just take off the lower clamp, pull the pin, take this out, and then the lower one remove, and then this will replace all of that. And I'll clamp my vibrant clamp right back around the top of that, and then I can weld a 3.5 inch pipe from off of this point and just lead this to my intercooler. So this is pretty nice, pretty convenient, and I'm going to get started. So I'm going to crawl under the car, see how much clearance I have between my throttle body and the intercooler with my piping and the engine, see where I have to work from there, and take off the front bumper and everything and start fabricating. All right, let's get with it. I will have to modify this and drill some larger holes in here for my bolts. Now, originally, if I'm not mistaken, these are M7s that'll fit in here, and a lot of the original bolts that fit in here that clamp the throttle body is an M6, and these are a little bit smaller. I end up sourcing out some titanium bolts that had taper head, and it was a little bit longer. So I did have to drill this out a little bit too. You can see the black powder coating, but you can see inside the silver from where I drilled through just to enlarge it from an M6 to an M7 to be able to fit these, and these bolts fits good. The only thing I'm concerned about is getting the hole in here big enough to make it past this lip right here, as you can see. My bolt will be able to slide through the shaft of it, but the head of it, that would be my concern with this, trying to catch this lip right here as I'm trying to slide it in the hole. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get the holes large enough. If not, I would have to oversize it or drill it on a slight angle, so that way I can taper the backside. I can slide it in on an angle, and then it'll straighten back up as it get further in. Hopefully I can just go straight through. We shall see. So let's start. So I notched out my bolt holes in my flange adapter, and everything turned out great. So for extra precautionary measure, I put some silicone around the inside. Some of the kits do come with O-rings, but I did want a very good seal. So even though a lot of times they come with O-rings, I want to hold this baseline seal all the way around just to eliminate any potential boost leaks. So when this bad boy right there, we crank up the boost, we want as much boost to be forced into the engine instead of bleeding out to the atmosphere, unless it's coming out of the exhaust. Underneath the car, checking out my clearance, and surprisingly the 3-inch pipe fits pretty good. I'm pretty surprised. Well, I mean, I took the measurements to try to get everything to fit, but look like I'll be able to squeeze this bad boy in here with a little bit of play side to side, looking good. But something else I just noticed that I like, check out them ports. You can literally just from beneath the car, I can literally see inside the plenum of how those ports are opened up, ready to just ingest some air. Of course, I got to put the plugs in at the top, but damn, I like it. On a surprising note, I was able to bolt all this in position from under the car without taking the radiator off. So you can see that I still have some pretty good clearance from my radiator to the throttle body, and this is tight up in here, but it clears. And I mean very tight. Okay, it's been drizzling, but the rain is starting to pick up. I want to be able to get the intercooler off, the front radiator core with condenser off real quick, and see if I can put my V-band clamp on, my shell clamp, and then put all this back in, and then that way I can start mocking up my piping for the intercooler. So right now, let's see if we can get this done before it starts pouring down raining. So now it's a little easier. I can just unbolt the whole thing from the bumper mounts And let's get this core support off real quick so I can get on this clamp. Rain is starting to pick up. The rain let loose, and I had to pack up really quick. So we got storm showers just passing through back and forth. But I accomplished enough to get the whole front intercooler off with the radiator core support off, mounted my adapter plate to my throttle body, mounted my drive-by-wire to my adapter plate, and managed to trim out a 3.5-inch J-pipe to get on the right angle, and I needed just a little bit more on an offset angle to get it. So as you can see, is thicker at one end and tapered down another, and that little bit that I shaved off, just skimming it off, gave me enough to get the right fitting, the right angle that I was searching for. So now is basically I can tack weld this up into position, bolt this pipe in with my vibrant clamp, and see how we're looking as far as coming off the throttle body. So we did make some progress even though it was raining. It's definitely picking up and coming down pretty good now. So we got enough accomplished to at least work inside in the garage, and we'll start tack welding some of the piping up. It's been a busy TT weekend. This weekend I had to change the wheel bearings, both passenger and driver side rear wheel bearings on my Audi TT, and I'm back with my brother's TT, and I got a chance to squeeze in some work also. So I got the throttle body mounted, which was great. So we got the V-band connector on here. Let's see, can't see up under here, but I'll do a quick shot from the bottom. We got the V-band connector on here, and I got the throttle body installed also. So I'll hop underneath just to give a quick look at that, which is right here, and it turned out pretty good. So we have that all mounted up to our intake plenum, and I just tack welded a J-pipe, okay? So that J-pipe is going to lead in between these AC hoses and my radiator, and then go to a U-bend to go to the intercooler. So I'm going to do something different because this engine, we're not sure how much flex it's going to have. So the J-pipe, I'm going to bead roll it so that we can probably put a hose hump connector on there, and then connect that to the J-pipe and let the J-pipe go to the intercooler. We're not sure how much flex we're going to get into this until we go to a pure race application, but I got those hoses ordered today and on the way. But let's go ahead and mount this J-pipe and see how that turns out. And of course there's a tight squeeze, so I have to take off the front bumper and core support and all of this to get that J-pipe installed in there. So we're in the process of doing the removal. We'll remove the intercooler, the radiator condenser coil support, and install our J-pipe, and then put everything back into position to see how we look. Okay, we have access to our intake plenum, and now we'll mount our J-pipe. And I just like the way now this whole intercooler just removes extremely easy. I just loosen up my bumper support mounts and just take the whole thing off as one unit and bolt it back in position. That way I don't have to fiddle with any alignment or anything like that as far as fitting the intercooler between the bumper mounts. I just remove everything as one piece, and because the bumper support holes are a lot larger, that it allows me to just shimmy it around easily and just put the bolts in and bolt it into position. Have our J-pipe installed, as you can see, and yes, it's getting dark. Now we'll go ahead and mount everything back up. One of the good things about this particular fitting that mounted up, we were able to bolt up our throttle body adapter to the vibrant clamp without any welding on the throttle body at all, which is good. So this does allow for some movement because of the way it's done. I do not have the O-rings in here yet. Just getting everything, a base setup first before we start installing any O-rings. But the tedious and time consuming part is tearing everything apart, putting it together, tearing it apart, putting it back together until we can see how our piping fits and how everything's run. it's difficult that you can't do it with everything in position, because you want to make sure you have all the proper pipe clearancing that we need for this application. So therefore, there's no choice but put a pipe on, test fit it, tear everything apart, put it back together until we get all our pipings routed, and we can make sure that we clear our bumper covers, our hoses, any other little items that may be necessary. Even just the fact of getting this drive-by wire into position, that was kind of tedious, because we needed the extra space in between our alternator. And as you can kind of see right there, we have inch clearance, but things are tight, very tight in this. This is not your average build. I don't think too many Audi TTs have taken it to this level yet with a 3.6 and with all the workings that we've put into this whole project right here, as being a daily driven. Race car, different. Many people have done it in race car applications. That's easy. You don't have to worry about all the factory essentials, air conditioning, and everything that we have here. So this is a dual purpose car that will be able to run with the big dogs on the track, and as well as be able to put 93 octane in this and cruise, get pretty, I don't know if I want to see pretty good gas mileage, but be able to cruise on the streets with 93 octane and E85, and definitely crank the boost up with the E85 and hit the tracks hard.